Aloha everyone, my name is Aloha Espinoza and I'm a student coordinator at the Na'ulu Center at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. Today we're going to be learning to do a DIY cultural engagement activity. Today's activity is making a Haku Lei or a lei po'o. We're going to be gathering items from around our neighborhood so you could do this easily at home. Today we're going to be in the beautiful Ahupua'a Nanakuli. And I live in Helelua, the best place ever. Lei making is a traditional craft for the Hawaiian culture. I myself do not consider to be a master lei maker or weaver or anything of that sort. I have just learned from different kumu and I'm sharing this ike with you guys so that you might be able to make some on your own during this time. Before we start, there's a few things you're gonna need to know before going around and picking things from the aina. First thing to know is you should not pick more than you need. Envision what you want your Haku Lei to look like and know it doesn't take that much to make it. I want mine to be mostly green with a few flowers, so I'll pick accordingly. The nice thing about Helelua is that there's a lot of male kanu or plants all around and it's all in public spaces, so I can pick pretty much freely. But if you're in your neighborhood and you want to pick from maybe your neighbor's backyard, or you see something that's kind of like in front of your neighbor's yard, you want to make sure you ask, because some people malama these plants and they take that kuleana upon themselves to take care of it and make sure it gets all the nutrients or water it might need. And you don't want to be the person that kind of vandalizes or hurts the plants that they're taking care of. So always make sure to ask if you're picking from someone else's yard. Here we have a beautiful papaya tree. Not a very common use of greenery for the Haku Lei, but you can still go for it. So what I'm going to do is just take some leaves. Come up here. This is exactly what you don't want to do when picking leaves or from the male kanu. You don't want to be ruining the branches and killing them. So you want to make sure you pick them nicely, like this. Pretend this is on the tree. And then whatever excess part you have or that you won't use, return it to the aina, like so. And there you have some greenery. Here we have some more beautiful greenery. When you have leaves like this, you can simply break them or fold them and kind of envision what you might want it to look like on your haku. Tea leaves or ferns are commonly used greenery in hakus, but that doesn't mean you can't use other types. So I'm gonna pick a few of these leaves. And if you look here, we have some very green ones, some purplish ones, of different time span of their life. They have a darker color to it, so you can pick some of those. You might not use a lot of small leaves, but you can try to get medium sized or large ones. And then try to get the stem of the leaf, because that will help you weave it into your Haku Lei. Here's the flowers that belong to the plant that we just picked leaves from. As you can see, they have very long stems. This is where you want to pick it from. You really want to get those long stems that will help weave into your haku. And so you just want to pick a couple of those. Remember to try and be very careful when you pick. They have this beautiful pink color, or fuchsia. Does this look like fuchsia to you? Comment below what color you think this is. And then some of this yellow color.
That's orange.
Orange color, per my husband. Be nice and gentle. The longer the stem, the more support you'll get in your Haku Lei. Okay, so before you prep your flowers, you can start to get your strands ready for your haku. This is what you'll be using to weave it all together and twist it together. First off, I use raffia costs like $5 at Walmart. It comes in a much nicer bag. But I use it quite often, and I put all my excess in a Ziploc bag. It usually lasts a pretty long time, and it's very sturdy, so I recommend using it. If you don't have raffia, you can cut up an old shirt and use thin strands of a shirt that you cut up. To prep your strands, I like to use 3 pieces of raffia that are long, so I don't run out of length. You're just gonna tie it together in a simple knot. You don't have to double knot it or anything because it won't come undone if you use raffia. You might have to double knot it with a shirt. And you're gonna need 2 of these, one for the base and one to wrap around the flowers onto the base. So I have another 2. You can use 2 or 3 again, doesn't really matter. Don't use 1 because it might break. And this is what I'll use to wrap. And again, I'm just tying the end. I like to put the thicker and most sturdy one on the base, so I'll lay that down. And the one we use for wrapping, where the knot is on that, I'm gonna go vertically and tie it around my base strand, just like that. You can double knot this one if you want, just to make sure it doesn't come undone while you're raveling. You'll be pulling it in different directions. Cute. So this is what it should look like. Your thickest, most sturdiest strand should be the base. Keep it horizontal to you, and then the one used for wrapping should be vertical. And now you can prep your flowers. Now we're gonna prep the flowers. If you can see, we have a little visitor who came with us. Definitely make sure that you shake off your flowers and return these critters back to their home. We'll do that after. So to prep the flowers, you want to make sure that there's good long stems, because that's what you'll use to connect to your base as you're raveling. If it's too short, the flowers might fall down or fall out from the base while you're wrapping. So I'm gonna already start visualizing what I want my haku to look like, and so I'm gonna do about a half circle or 3/4 of a circle, placing the greenery and the flowers. Like I said before, it doesn't usually take that much, so definitely be mindful of how much you pick. Make sure you're trying to keep as long of a stem as possible. Any excess you have, just put to the side, because you're gonna return that to the Aino when you're done. These leaves, we usually don't use whole leaves in haku making because it can make it really thick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make thinner pieces. And make sure they're long because there won't be a stem, so you'll have to wrap using part of the leaf. Yep. And then I used and gathered this type of leaf too, so that one I might just keep and wrap it like that. It's kind of same color green, just a different type of leaf, so I use that. So I finished placing all of the floral and greenery, and now what we're gonna do is wheelie it or twist it. There's different styles of haku Lei. You can do a braided style, a twist style, lots of different ways, but today we're gonna be twisting it. So I have my base, I have what I want it to look like, so I'm gonna start twisting it on. It's very important that you are mindful in the positioning of the base on your hands. You want to make sure there's support underneath with your fingers, so you can place it between your index and your middle finger right at the knot and hold it straight like that with your thumb, and then you can start placing it. I usually like to do 2 to 3 items in one placement. If you're a beginner, I highly suggest you do that as well, or maybe even only do one placement at a time. So you can go ahead and start twisting it. You can either go clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter, but once you choose one way, you have to keep going that way. So I'm gonna go counterclockwise. And you just need to do one twist all the way around. Make sure you tighten it. As you see, it's pulling up because you need to go closer to the knot, so make sure you start right underneath that knot. Go close to the knot just like that, and that's where you're gonna twist. So twist right around just like that. Okay, we have our first placement. Next, I still have a few leaves, but this looks pretty full, so I'm just gonna put that to the side because I might need it in a different area. Again, use what you need. And then I'm gonna put some floral. Again, only 2 pieces at a time. Gonna go ahead and twist. Again, you want to make sure it's really tight, so don't be afraid to like hold it in position in your fingers and then use your other hand to pull as tight as you can. The nice thing about this greenery and floral choice is that they're very flexible stems, so they won't break easily. If you do something like roses or flowers that have thicker, more fibrous stems from like Safeway, there's a higher chance that it might break on you, and you'll have to go looser on this, which means looser on the wrapping, which means you might have them falling out and stuff. So definitely want to be careful. I'm gonna grab, so I usually go greenery, floral greenery, and I usually don't place it right on top. I mean, I might if they're shorter pieces, but I try to keep them on the side and keep the floral in the middle. But if they're shorter pieces like the leaf that we gathered to, you can put it right there. And that was 2 pieces, but I had those extra pieces on the side, so I'm gonna go ahead and place them. You want to keep them bunched up like that, pinch them so you can put them nicely right on top of that base. And you can wrap it again. Like I said, you want to wrap the stems, but if your leaf has no stem, because you cut it up, you're going to have to wrap around the leaf. And then your back should look like this. You should be keeping it really tight. Each wrapping or weaving should be right after each other. There shouldn't be a lot of spaces for you to see the greenery, because that's how you know you're keeping it tight. I grabbed 2 bunches. I'm just gonna pinch, place. This is a shorter stem, so I'm going to just squeeze her in there and wrap again. And then you can see here there is going to be some spacing. I don't have too much floral. I tried to keep it thin. The thing about bunching things up too much is it makes your haku really thick and really bulky, and that can be really heavy on the head and heavy on the base, so it causes droopy hakus. So you just want to make sure that you're mindful of how much you're placing in one area and really make sure you're moving it down. So as you see, we're about done. I simply just tied a double knot with the winding strand or the weaving strand and ended it there, so it's a little bit shorty, so just enough. If you see here, the weaving isn't right next to each other. That's just because I didn't pick a lot and it was getting kind of bulky, so I had to space it out. But I did the Haku test, which is really you just like shake it around, and if nothing falls out, that means it's tight enough and it's good to go. And yeah, I used pretty much everything. There are some pieces I couldn't use, and I'm gonna return that outside, so always make sure you do that. Return to from where you took from. Okay, so that's how you can do a DIY quick Haku Lei. Again, not all knowledge is learned in one place, or one of my favorite, olelo no ea, aole pauka ike kahalo ho'okahi. So if you have other ways of making a Haku Lei, feel free to comment below and share your ike or knowledge with some of our fellow followers on how you might have done your own DIY haku. I know Ko'ulu Maika at Ko'ulu Maika is doing a Lei challenge. Feel free to hashtag Lei challenge and share your Haku Lei with us as well as her. Tag at Ko'ulu Maika and at No'ulu Center.